primera plana, el presidente de los Estados Unidos ha reunido hoy en Washington a líderes y altos funcionarios extranjeros para la apertura de su Consejo de la Paz, esta propuesta que va a servir para sedimentar el camino de una paz duradera en la Franja de Gaza. Esta es una nueva institución centrada en Gaza, cuyo alcance, según reporta la Casa Blanca, podría extenderse a otros conflictos globales. La iniciativa surge tras el alto al fuego negociado en octubre por Washington junto con Qatar y Egipto, que puso fin a 2 años de guerra devastadora en el enclave palestino. Es como un órgano en paralelo con las Naciones Unidas que no logró resolver este conflicto, no logró cumplir su cometido. A este encuentro han asistido cerca de 2 docenas de mandatarios, representantes de alto nivel. Entre ellos hay varios aliados ideológicos del presidente de los Estados Unidos. En contraste, casi ninguna de las democracias europeas que tradicionalmente respaldan las iniciativas de Washington han participado en la reunión. Este plan estadounidense ya entró en su segunda fase, que está centrada en el desarme de Hamas, este grupo terrorista que está muy ligado con la realidad de Palestina. Quiero que escuchemos parte de lo que dijo el secretario de Estado Marco Rubio en la constitución del Consejo de la Paz. Evidencia.
I'll be brief and to the point. We want to talk a little bit about the strategic vision of this organization and begin doing so by first acknowledging that we are here today because the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, has both an ability and a willingness to use the power of his office to think outside the box. And that's why we're here today. This was a very unique crisis in Gaza, one that the existing international institutions could not solve or figure out. It needed a very specific type solution that required the partnership of all the nations that are here, including those that are here on an observer status. And we appreciate you coming today and being a part of this as well. And that's the point I want to drive home today. And soon you'll hear from Steve and Jared, who, by the way, deserve an incredible amount of credit for pulling this together and working countless hours and traveling all over the world. They truly deserve our appreciation and thanks for the work they've put in under the leadership of President Trump to make this possible. This Gaza situation was impossible to solve under orthodoxy, under existing structures. And so what we did is they went to the UN and they got the UN's approval to put this group together and bring these nations together to come up with a very specific solutions to a very unique and specific problem. We have a long ways to go. There's a lot of work that remains. It will require the contribution of every nation state represented here today, and we thank you for being a part of it. And we hope that this can serve as a model for other complex and difficult situations so they can be solved in the same way. But right now the focus is on this one. We have to get this right. There is no plan B for Gaza. Plan B is going back to war. No one here wants that. Plan A, the only path forward, is one that rebuilds Gaza in a way of enduring and sustainable peace where everyone can live there side by side with one another and never worry again about returning to conflict, to war, to human suffering, and to destruction. And again, Mr. President, thank you for having the vision and the courage to pursue something that has never been done before, and we're not done yet. And thank you to Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner for the time and the work they've put into this. And thank you on behalf of the State Department and the U.S. government to all of the nations that are here. Every one of you is indispensable, including our observer partners, who we hope can find your way to join us at some point as officially part of this. But we are grateful for the fact you're here today and the contributions you've made already. Thank you.
Estamos hablando de compromisos de más de 5.000 millones de dólares para la reconstrucción de Gaza. El presidente Trump, que ha sido siempre un magnate inmobiliario, le ve mucha perspectiva, mucha oportunidad y mucho desarrollo, y por eso ha planteado la posibilidad de desarrollar complejos turísticos en la zona. Varios funcionarios estadounidenses, incluido el negociador especial Steve Witkoff, sostiene que existe progreso y que Hamas está enfrentando la presión para abandonar las armas. Israel ha planteado restricciones amplias, incluida la confiscación de rifles personales. El primer ministro Benjamin Netanyahu declaró recientemente que el arma pesada, la que causa más daño, se llama AK-47 y añadió, esa es el arma principal y tendría que desaparecer. El vicepresidente de los Estados Unidos, J.D. Vance, estuvo presente también en este momento tan importante, la inauguración del Consejo de Paz para Gaza, una iniciativa que promete mirar de frente hacia otros conflictos de envergadura que están en este momento en activo. Esto fue lo que dijo el vicepresidente de los Estados Unidos. Evidencia.
I have three very brief messages. First of all, to the President of the United States, but to the entire team, to Marco, to Steve, to Jared in particular, who've done such an incredible job. I think what this Board of Peace represents is a recognition that if you actually have a President of the United States and a team that's committed to diplomacy, it can actually work. When I look at what happened to Israel on October the 7th, all those innocent people who were murdered, the fact that you had all of these hostages, and of course, a terrible war that came from it, I remember thinking to myself, how is it ever going to be possible to get these hostages home safely, to make it possible for the people of Gaza to actually have a reasonable future, but also to ensure that Israel is never attacked again? It turns out the answer was you just needed a president who was committed to the effort and committed to the work, and that's what we had, thankfully, under the leadership of this president. And you got to make peace, but then you have to make the peace stick. And that brings me to my second point. That's what the Board of Peace, I think, is fundamentally about, is making the peace stick. And it's an incredible thing that you guys have all done. So to all of the leaders gathered here today who are investing in the future, who are investing in peace, we're grateful to you. We're grateful for your partnership. And in particular, I think to the President of Azerbaijan and the Prime Minister of Armenia, who I just saw last week, thank you all for making it possible and for showing what real leadership can accomplish. When you set aside weapons and killing and destruction and invest in your people and invest in prosperity, it can create great things. So thank you both for what you did. I think it showed great leadership. And finally, to the American people, I think it's important that the American people recognize why we're here today. And the reason that we're here today is, yes, to save lives and yes, to promote peace, but this creates incredible prosperity for the American people. The countries represented here represent trillions of dollars of investment in the United States of America that would not have been possible without this president's leadership and advocacy for peace. The economies here represent millions of American jobs of people who are receiving products built in American factories and made by American workers would not be possible without a focus on peace. So, Mr. President, while I think this is great for the world, I also think it's really, really great for the United States of America. So we're looking forward to the partnership.
Según las condiciones establecidas, el presidente Trump tendrá poder de veto sobre el organismo y podrá seguir al frente incluso después de dejar el cargo. Los países que aspiren a una membresía permanente deberán aportar $1.000 millones en lugar de un mandato de 2 años. Este lanzamiento se produce en un contexto en el que hay una reducción del financiamiento para las Naciones Unidas. Las Naciones Unidas están enfrentando un fuerte cuestionamiento, no solo de parte de los Estados Unidos. Hay países como Francia y Canadá que no asistieron al evento, se mantienen al margen. Al Vaticano no le ha parecido del todo bien esta iniciativa, aunque es una iniciativa por la paz. Siguen creyendo en la gestión de las Naciones Unidas. Creen que crear un organismo paralelo le quitaría fuerza a las Naciones Unidas. No creo que le quite fuerza a las Naciones Unidas. Simplemente las Naciones Unidas ya no tienen fuerza. No obtienen resultados. Japón envió una especie de participante enviado especial sin comprometerse con la incorporación plena. El presidente Lula da Silva de Brasil rechazó la invitación y afirmó que el organismo debería limitarse a Gaza e incluir un asiento para Palestina. Esto fue parte de lo que dijo el presidente Trump. Evidencia.
But this meeting today is proof with determined leadership nothing is impossible. When I took office, the war in Gaza was raging with thousands of people being killed and no end in sight. Today, thanks to unrelenting diplomacy and the commitment of many of the great people in this room, we have 59 countries signed up on Gaza. Think of that. We have, it's amazing. But all the people, many, really so many in this room, the war in Gaza is over. It's over. There are little flames, little flames. Hamas has been, I think they're going to give up their weapons, which is what they promised. If they don't, it'll be, you know, they'll be harshly met, very harshly met. They don't want that. You know, all this stuff like they don't mind dying. They told me that's not true. Everyone said, oh, they don't mind dying. No, they don't want to die. They said, we don't want to die. People don't want to die. The ceasefire was held, and every last remaining hostage, both living and dead, has been returned back home. Think of that. That was an impossibility.
El Consejo de la Paz podría extender su gestión a otros conflictos globales. Ya existe, ha quedado constituido oficialmente hoy en Washington. Hacemos la primera pausa de la tarde.